What's up, guys? Zeenigami here, and this is Genshin Impact, the new Breath of the Wild anime clone that is actually really good. It's definitely my free-to-play game of the year of 2020, hands down. If you have been following me on Twitch recently, you know I've been crazy about this game ever since we've been playing the Chinese beta, and I'm going to be streaming this a lot more over on Twitch. But the first thing I want to talk about is gearing and how these artifact systems work. So there's two pieces of gear, or two types of gear, that every single character in Genshin Impact is going to have: a weapon and 5 different artifacts. In this video, we're going to talk about the artifacts specifically. If there's any other videos you want to see about this game, are there any questions you have about it, let me know, so that way I can make more videos for you guys in the future. So with artifacts and with anything in the game, any characters, well, characters only have 4 stars and 5 stars, but with any gear pieces, they go from 1 star all the way up to 5-star pieces of gear, and that's artifacts and weapons. For your artifacts, 1-star and 2-star pieces of gear are basically worthless. You're really just using them in the very early stages of the game. The first few hours, the adventurer set is going to be the set you're going to be using for those first few hours of the game, because it gives you 1,000 health, which whenever the character has a pool of a few thousand hit points, it's quite a bit. It's almost like a 30% health increase for most of your characters, or on a fresh character, doubling their health. So it's a nice little pool of health there for the adventurer set, and you need any 2 pieces of gear to get those set bonuses. Set bonuses are the biggest reason to use specific pieces of gear. You can sort by set, so you can see what sets exist over here. The bottom ones down here are the higher rarity sets that we're going to be getting on later in the game, but the ones up here are the ones you are more likely to actually have access to with weaker effects. You'll also notice that all of the pieces of gear have a main stat and substats. So once you have the set pieces that you're looking for, you can have multiple 2-piece sets on. There are also pieces of gear with 1-piece set requirements, so only wearing 1 piece of that automatically activates that set bonus. These are ones like reduced damage from fire attacks by 40%, which can be useful if you know exactly what fight you're getting into. But these 2-piece set bonuses, sometimes it's a lot better to just have 2-piece set bonuses than a single 4-piece set bonus. For example, this Berserker's Rose, the first 2-piece set bonus gives you 12% crit chance, but the second one, it requires you to be below 70% health in order to get an additional 24% crit chance. And if you're running around adventuring, you're likely to have your health pretty topped off, so you're not going to be using that second 4-piece set very often. You can compare this with another set that's relatively easy to get, which is, for example, the Sojourner's set, which the 2-piece set bonus for this one gives you 18% attack. The 4-piece for this one increases charge attack crit rate by 30%. You might not even be using that one, so double 2-piece sets can be much more useful. So outside of actually putting these set pieces together, you're going to want to be paying very close attention to what substats any of your gear that you're working on rolls. The higher rarity gear has more substats available to them. You can see here that at +4, my 4-star Gladiator's Destiny has 3 substats. This green Traveling Doctor's Owl only has 1 substat. The blue ones often have 2. Now, with the 4 stars, you actually can start off with 3 substats rolled. And at +4, you get an additional substat for any piece of gear. At +8, you get another additional substat for any piece of gear. And the substats can be anything from main stats like these, or they can be energy recharge, crit rate. Basically, any stat that is over here on the attributes section of your character can possibly roll as a substat. They can have health, attack, defense, elemental mastery. Stamina is something that is account level and not something that you can get on gear. Crit rates, healing, energy recharge. Cooldown isn't something that we're really seeing on the substats for gear. And as far as I can tell, there's no way to re-roll substats on gear this early into the game. That might be something that we have available to us later on, but at this point in the game, whatever substat you get, that's just what's gonna be on that piece of gear. And in order to get more substats, you need to level up to either +4, +8, or beyond. Getting your gear to +4 early on is going to be the goal for a few pieces. You only really want to be working on 3-star gear and upwards. 4-star gear, if it's something that you're going to be using, you can invest in those. Get them to those breakpoints of +4, +8, because that's where you're going to be getting the additional benefit of another substat, which is going to be a very big boost to how good that piece of gear is. And then you have to hope that it's actually something that you want on that character, and your glass cannon damage character isn't getting stuff like health and defense. As far as main stat goes, these first two pieces of gear, the flower and the feather, always have the same main stat, so that's one little bit of RNG that you don't have to worry about. Every single flower here is always going to have health as a main stat. All health, no matter what on the flower. Feather is always going to have attack. All the main stats for all these feathers are attack boosts. For the timepiece, the possible main rolls are any main stat percentage, and actually for all three next pieces, they all have main stat percentages, elemental mastery, and other options. So for this one, the additional option is energy recharge and energy mastery. So elemental mastery you saw here, that is on all pieces of these gear. Energy recharge, I'm not sure if I have one in my box somewhere, but that's also something that can roll on this tier, this socket of gear. Whatever. For the goblet that you can get, the drinking piece, the main stats that can roll are, once again, percent stats, so attack, health, and defense percent, elemental mastery, or type damage bonus. So that can be physical damage, animal damage, hydro damage, geo damage, any damage type. You can roll that as a substat or a main stat, and that's most likely the one you're going to want, since that's a very nicely offensive stat, or attack percent, which is always nice. And then for finally on the last headpiece, main stat percent, elemental mastery, and then crit damage, crit rate, and healing bonus. Healing bonus is a very bad one to get on a lot of sets, so sometimes you might get something like a Berserker mask here that's really exciting, but you get possibly healing bonus on it. So pay attention to what stat is rolling here before you really invest in those pieces. You don't want to end up putting a lot of points into something that you're missing out on maybe 15% attack and you have healing bonus here instead. Be very, very careful of that. And once again, the substats, basically completely random. There's no way, as far as I can tell, to influence or change whatever substats you roll. Invest in your gear to +4. You actually have a mission to get 6 pieces of gear to +4, then later on more pieces of gear to +8, and that's where you want to get the break points for your gear. That's Genshin Impact artifact gearing in a nutshell. Hope that clarified some things for you guys. If you have any other questions, I'll be putting out more videos here on YouTube as soon as I can, or come out on Twitch and ask me questions live. I'll be more than happy to answer them. Thank you so much for watching. Y'all stay beautiful.